Having the ability to be so creative and passionate about something enough to have it on your body for the rest of your life seems more beautiful than shameful in a way, doesn't it? People all over the world have body modifications, and some are as simple as having things like tattoos and piercings on the body. In fact, Anne Lawman and Amy Derrick noted in a national data set journal that out of 165 people responding to the question if they already had body modifications, 24% already had tattoos and 14% already had piercings. And that really is a lot when you think about it. Even I, at the age of 19, already have piercings and tattoos on my body, which is, of course, a form of body modification. And in our day and age, these are getting more and more common, but are still being judged. And when you think about it, if things like this have went back so far, why are they still being judged today? And the things I'm going to be explaining today are the types of body modification, the real historical timeline of body modifications, as well as the cultural aspects of these, because this really is something that's so interesting and important to understand and think about, especially in our time with people being more creative and fluid with their bodies. When we discuss the types of body modifications, we see lots of things that start being so seemingly simple you really wouldn't even register this is a body modification, to things that get more normal, and then of course there's always the more extreme and severe side. And of course there is a side like that to body modifications. Now some of these examples, starting with the more simple ones, are things like the tanning of the skin or getting plastic surgery, whether it's to enhance the body or whether it's to just fix the nose. They're all examples of body modification. But so is more normal things, again, like getting tattoos and piercings. And the more extreme side are seeing things like scarifications and brandings on humans, when we normally see things like this with animals and farm settings. But these aspects are now being brought into the human body modification industry. And of course, this is something that not everyone is going to be their cup of tea, but it's always an option for the more daredevil, adventurous people in this industry. Moving on to the beginning of the body modification timeline. The first ever known body modification was discussed in an article from Michael Harris on uoregon.edu. And this discussed the discovery of Otis the Iceman, who was the first discovered example of body modifications, who had over 40 tattoos and examples of branding on his body. And this was supposed to be having him dated from around 3000 BC. So if we're looking at things this far back and seeing that he had these things, why is it still judged today? If it's been a course over time that people are still doing these things, it's normal to have things that you want to have on your body for life, pieces of art that you want to share with others or just to have for yourself. And this article actually continues to discuss key aspects of the timeline, with the tattoo gun being invented in 1891, and the Book of World Records discovering and writing about extreme body modifications publicly and proudly. And the body modification story also includes the cultural aspects. And what this means is that really based on where you're living and where you're from, certain body modifications are deemed normal or deemed crazy. And of course we see examples in the Bradley University article. And this article tells us that in certain regions like Thailand and Africa, body modifications such as neck elongations and rings being placed on the neck to keep your neck stretched as long as it possibly can reminds and is supposed to deem yourself more beautiful or more wealthy. And this is something that they see as normal because of that cultural aspect. Also, we see things like in Africa, we see earlobe and lip stretchings. These are supposed to be beautiful there. These are seen as normal, but it's not something that we would really see here in America as much. We also see things like foot bindings in Asia, where they would break children's toes and wrap them to try to keep them small. These are all body modifications on the more severe side, but body modifications nonetheless. Now, after discussing all of these different things, in summary, body modifications have always been around, ranging from simple things like body piercings and tattoos to, of course, the more severe and the cultural sides. And this means that simple modifications like the ones we're seeing today shouldn't be so judged and so looked at a negative side. And knowing all of these few basic things, like the types of body modifications, the history of them, as well as the cultural aspect of body modifications, people can become more educated and more accepting of others that have things like this in life when we take the time to understand and realize why these things have happened and how long they have been happening. And that's the reasoning why certain things following a line shouldn't be looked at downly. Thank you.